my gosh. And darker? Yeah. This is nice. Let's make more videos this way. Hi, what's up? You may be wondering why I'm talking on a ladder. There's actually no good reason why I'm doing this, but I actually wanted to talk about this camera very quickly and just talk about my first impressions of the Leica M6 that I got just a handful of weeks ago. My first impressions of this camera, I come from shooting that Canon QL17 as a rangefinder, which is fantastic, but I will say there's a night and day difference between this camera and that camera. It's almost like this camera, if you're gonna say it's like a Tesla or like a Porsche, that was like a Honda Civic at best. Build quality, phenomenal. Image quality is also fantastic from what I've seen so far. I have paired it with a Voigtlander 28mm f2 Ultron Mark I, and I really like that combination of these two together. I have my friends actually talk about their Leica M6s. Camera's great though. Do you guys like the setup? Should I film more videos this way? I'm literally standing up, like I'm literally on a ladder right now, like, okay. Hi, you wanna come up here and talk about your just initial thoughts on a Leica M6? I know you don't own one, but you've shot and used them. So can you just come up here? Can you come up here and talk to the camera and just share your brief? Here, I'll move aside.
So I've had, oh wow, okay, don't fall. I've had a lot of experience with the M6, the M3, as long as also the Canon P, the Canon VI, lots of rangefinders. Wow, it's so weird because like I'm looking at the monitor.
I know, you have to look at the lens, I know.
Anyway,
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. The biggest thing is for people with glasses, rangefinders tend to be a lot harder because you can't really put your eye all the way into the viewfinder to see the rangefinder patch. And typically with older cameras, the rangefinder patch tends to be not as visible than other cameras. Now the great thing about them is that they're still very small, very lightweight, very compact, and you can take them anywhere. I love the M6, even though I don't own one. Would I ever own one? Not really. I'm still more of an SLR person.
That's a good point.
So, but they're great cameras, and if you have the money, then like, why not? Because they're going to last forever.
Thank you. Thanks. All right, Mike, you ready? For context, Mike actually got his M6 like a month and a half before I got mine. So he's also a very new user to the M6 Leica line in general. He's actually a valuable perspective or person to talk to about
I'm actually valuable?
You are very valuable for many reasons, but you want to share briefly your first impressions of your M6?
Yeah. So I got my M6 here. I have the flash on it. First off, I just love using it because it's just, the user experience is phenomenal. I have the version 2 of the same lens Gene has. Honestly, my first couple rolls, I was disappointed. Because like I thought I was metering right and I underexposed everything until I like learned how to properly meter for how I like to take pictures, which is overexposing the film to get kind of those more pastel-y, bright looking images. I'm just figuring out like what film stock and stuff I like using, which is hard right now because a lot of film stocks are either out of stock or like crazy expensive. So I've been shooting a lot of Lomo, but realizing I think I like Portra more. But it's great, the flash is fun. I need to stop looking at myself.
Sorry.
You're down here, I'm sorry. But the way I meter is, so I set my speed, like my meter stop lower. So if I'm shooting 400 speed, I rate my meter at 200. If I'm shooting 800 speed, I shoot it at 400. And then in my Leica, at least, I just have 2 arrows. I don't have the dot in the middle. I basically expose it in the shadow. So I point it down at the shadow, all like till just the right arrow pops up. So like I am metering the meter a stop lower, plus then now metering the shadows just a little bit overexposed. That was like the biggest thing for me is I just needed to literally just give my film more light, and then I'm loving this thing.
Like Mike mentioned, that is a thing that I've observed about the Leica M6 is if you use an internal meter, which is honestly awesome that it has one, and it's another reason why I got the M6 and not something like an M3. If you do it middle exposure with the arrows perfectly in the middle, a lot of times the images do look a stop or two underexposed, and that's why all of us do a stop overexposed. But here's Eric.
Oh, this is fun.
Here, let me give this to you.
Okay.
We're dad's living life on the edge.
How do you do this?
Oh God. Eric is actually, he's been a longtime owner of a Leica M6. Can you just share you've obviously had the most experience with this camera, but your just first impressions of this camera and some of the things, the quirks of it that you've learned over the years?
I've also had the most failures.
This is true.
With this.
This is true.
I bought this not knowing how to work it at all. I bought it straight because of hype. I'm not gonna lie.
Eric also has You want to talk about which one you actually got?
I have the .85 viewfinder TTL. So it's rarer.
It's like one of the more rare ones that are out there.
I didn't even know what a rangefinder was. I didn't even know how to use it. I just bought it because it was cool. And at that point, it was like $1,400, I think. I bought it. I messaged Ben Chai.
You're struggling on the slide.
I am.
Here, hold on,
Okay. Okay, perfect. Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm like Spider-Man right now.
I messaged my buddy Benj who has an M6 or an M3, and I was like, how do you focus? And he's like, oh, you know the rectangle in the viewfinder? You line up the ghost image with it. I had no idea. The experience is unbelievable. It's like absolute butter. And I love this size viewfinder, the 8.5. And it seems insignificant maybe, but the dial is just huge and it goes right to the front of the body right here. So I really love being able to just slide my hand across the front. Whereas I know the 7.2, yours.
The dial's a little small. That's what Eric's talking about.
Yeah, it's almost literally like half the size
I'll show some B-roll
this.
of the top of the cameras.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed using the Voigtlander 35. I had the Zeiss 35 f2 Biogon before that, but it kind of fell apart. So I was like, oh, I'd rather have something that can open up to 1.4.
The Leica M6, it's very robust, but I will say there's room for error to make mistakes when you're winding film, when you're loading it. There's a lot of things that you could do wrong. And a mistake that I see people do, and I've done it before too, is when you put the film in, if it doesn't catch properly, you can still be rolling your shutter and it'll count up, and then you'll keep going and wonder why is it going past 40? And it's because the film never caught. So that's an issue. You want to be very careful if you're making sure you're loading it properly.
And it was built and designed, and Chris made a video about how to load it properly, but I've legitimately done it that way a few times, and it didn't catch.
I have too.
So whenever I load film, I always keep it open, press the shutter, and advance it at least a little bit to see that it's grabbing across. I don't even burn a whole frame. I barely move the advance just to see if it's grabbing the teeth and going. And as soon as that's done, then I close it up and I hit 2 shots and burn them.
That's what you do too.
Yeah, just to make sure every single time it's grabbing the film all the way through. And I haven't had that problem in a few years.
Because a lot of times you'll still get more than 36 exposures off of a roll.
I still get 37, most of the time.
It's good to know. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hopefully that was informative as far as our first impressions of this camera and what it's been like to use it. I'm gonna show you guys those black and white images I took, that first roll I took through this camera. But my first impressions of this camera is I really enjoy it. This will be a camera that I'll hold on to for a long time. All right, so hopefully my friends sharing about their experiences with their Leica M6s gives you guys some insight into what it's like to own and use this camera. I'll see you guys in the next one. Like and subscribe, that would be incredible. Try and hit 1,000 subs by the end of this year. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. If you own a Leica M6, comment below. If you want to own a Leica M6, comment below. If you do not care about film cameras and Leica M6s, comment below and just be nice. Bye. Should I make more videos like this on a ladder? It's pretty fun. Bye.